Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 26 Beta 7 and iOS 26 Public Beta 4 released a few days ago, and iOS 18.6.2 released a couple days ago, but there's even more to talk about since the iOS 26 Beta 7 is out what's new video. We'll talk about the latest Apple news, we'll talk about some new features, and also talk about the overall experience. Not just my experience, but your experience based off the YouTube community poll, where at the time of this video there's over 19,000 votes and 199 comments. I've gone over all the comments to determine what the overall experience is like for most of us, so we'll talk about that toward the end of the video and read some of your comments as well, so be sure to stick around toward the end of the video. Now, Apple this week announced another new store, this time in India. The store will be at Phoenix Mall of Asia and opens on September 2nd. You can see it here. Apple Hebel, and hopefully I'm saying that properly. You can see where it's located. I'll link this in the description below, but if we scroll down toward the bottom, you can see they've actually included a new wallpaper as well. So you can download this wallpaper if you want to check it out, view it here, and of course I'll link that in the description as well if you want to check it out. But this is opening September 2nd, and it seems like Apple's opening an awful lot of new stores all over the world. It seems that Apple's working on a new promotion that should be coming soon based on code found by Aaron P613. The promotion is set to go through March 26th, 2026 and would give you 2 free months of Apple Music by adding just $25 to an Apple account balance. So we're not really sure on all the details, but it looks like it was found within the code. Apple also shared an ad this week demonstrating a great use for action mode on iPhone. They posted it on YouTube. And on Apple's YouTube channel, there's an ad called No Frame Missed, and it demonstrates someone who has maybe a tremor in their hand or Parkinson's, where they can utilize the action mode in the camera to take steadier video. So that's a great usage for maybe a feature that wasn't meant to be an accessibility feature, but really helps some people out. So it's great to see more and more uses from iPhone. Apple TV Plus's price increased this week, where it's now $12.99 per month instead of $9.99. That's the price in the USA, but it looks like it's going up in different places around the world and can be up to $3 more again in the USA. However, if you're using a bundle such as Apple One, the price remains unchanged. So it looks like Apple may be pushing people toward Apple One to bundle different services such as Fitness Plus and others they offer. But let me know what you think of this. Are you going to continue to use TV Plus? Do you already have Apple One or something else? Now, Apple's working on the new Siri, and the updated Siri is almost a year past due at this point, and it seems Apple may need some help. Apple is reportedly in talks with Google to use Gemini as the backbone to the next generation Siri, according to Mark Gurman. So I have Gemini here, of course ChatGPT and others are helpful, but it looks like they're in talks to get this working, and Google is working on a new model to run on Apple's private cloud compute. However, it seems that Apple also talked to Anthropic and OpenAI for the same purpose earlier on, but could also stay with its own models. Either way, it seems that Apple may need some help, and if this is true, they may not be as confident as they have recently stated online. So Mark Gurman says the decision will be made in the coming weeks, and this new Siri, though, is still not expected until 2026 anyway. But either way, it looks like they could use a little extra help, maybe getting this right, or they may not be as confident as they thought they were. We're not really sure, but either way, I can't wait to see what they have with this. Maybe have more context with Siri, have it learn about you, and give you more useful information. But let me know what you think of that as well. Now, it looks like there was some good news in the UK this week for those concerned about overall security of iOS, as the UK is no longer demanding that Apple give access to encrypted data, according to the US Director of Intelligence. The Financial Times has said that the UK has agreed to get rid of the order, but so far it hasn't been done officially. So hopefully we'll see that this week, and this could help with maybe bringing some features to iPhone that they haven't had already. So I would love to see all the features roll out everywhere around the world at the same time, and hopefully we'll get closer to that very soon. Now, as far as new features this week, well, there's more to talk about with iOS 26 Beta 7, and the first thing has to do with messages. If we go into Messages, and if we go into the menu in the upper right, you'll see that we have a new option for drafts, and this only shows up if maybe you started typing in one of the text entry boxes and never sent it. If we go into drafts, you'll see here's one that I said earlier, and there's one that just says, hey, and if we go into it, you'll see the message here as well. I can send this, complete it, or just come back to it later. So they've added that option here, again in the upper right for drafts, and if I delete it here, it will delete from all devices as well. If we go into music and maybe go into a song, when we're playing that song, fast forward now works properly. So if I press play, watch the little player down here, the little play line here or playhead. And if I go ahead and press and hold, you'll see it fast forwards just like you would expect. So it's definitely working properly now. For quite some time, this just didn't seem to work properly. So again, if we go back in, press rewind, it will do the same thing. So everything is working as it should, and I'm glad that it's working for everyone now on iOS 26 Beta 7. Now, when it's time to charge your phone, if maybe you place it on a charger and you have it set to stop at about 80% or so, or maybe optimized charging is enabled, it will stop often at 80%. And sometimes it will actually show this instead of being green, it will just be sort of the color of the Wi-Fi icon and cellular icon with the 80%, showing you that it's going to charge a little bit later. So I do have this currently set to 80% just to show you this, and it's still charging. And I typically have it set to 100 with optimized battery charging on. But I have seen this from time to time, but I didn't mention it until this video as someone brought it up, Sharif, who passed this on. Something else I haven't seen that's new is I've heard from some people saying that when you boot your phone up, the Apple logo will match the color of the phone with the latest beta. I haven't seen this myself since I actually have a black phone here, the titanium or black titanium, but let me know if you're seeing this, maybe if you have the other colors here, natural titanium or something else. Let me know if you're seeing the same color logo or maybe on one of the more colorful options if you're seeing it there as well. Now, we've had clear icons in iOS 26 since its inception, but if we go into X here, Steve Mosier posted that they actually added the Xcode Preview app update to now include a clear icon. So if you're using the Xcode Preview app on your iPhone, you'll now have a clear option as well. Another thing I've heard online that I haven't been able to duplicate myself is using Sidecar along with iPhone mirroring. It's now working for some. However, I couldn't get this to work in Apple Vision Pro. So it may work properly on your Mac with Sidecar and iPhone mirroring, but it definitely doesn't work for me with all of the latest betas with Apple Vision Pro as well. Another thing that's new since Beta 6 is when installing a new SIM card as an eSIM, it now asks if you're using the eSIM for home or abroad. So it actually lets you specify that to let you know this one's home, and then if it recognizes a different one, it should let you know that this one might be used where maybe somewhere you're traveling overseas or just won't be your normal one. So that's something a little bit new when you install that. Also, if we go into Notes, one thing I noticed is if we go in and use the text selection option, it looks like it's a little bit bigger since Beta 6. It definitely is a little bit more responsive. The animation is super smooth, and it's easy to see if you're selecting text. So you can see that here, and it definitely has a really nice animation and works way better than it did in iOS 18. So I think this is a great addition and makes it easier to see and select text. Now, we're just a few weeks away from seeing the iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17 Pro, and iPhone 17 Pro Max. We expect them to be in a blue and orange color, as well as maybe some others, of course, some different models. And it looks like it's definitely going to be an aluminum unibody this time around, or aluminum in the Pro phones. Some people were a little bit skeptical of this, thinking why would Apple go away from stainless steel or titanium? But to get rid of heat and to help with overall weight and maybe the unibody construction, hopefully this will be a much better phone this time around, but we really don't know what this overall bump is for, and it looks like we've got some case leaks that show that this bump is definitely going to be there as well. So the new case leaks are from Majin Buu on X, showing a replacement for fine woven that's supposedly called tech woven. The name may not be accurate, but the material is a little bit different and still fabric, but seems to be improved compared to fine woven and still be cloth. I personally would like to see some leather cases as well. Of course, there's good third-party options for that, but it looks like Apple's sticking to some sort of cloth material. This coming week, I would expect Apple to send out event invites for the iPhone 17 launch. If it's going to take place like it does every year, we can expect the event invites probably early this coming week, with them taking place maybe on the 8th for the event or possibly the 9th. Typically it's a Monday. Some people have been saying the 9th, but either way, I would expect it in a couple weeks as far as that event goes. If it is on the 8th or 9th, we can expect the pre-orders to go live on the 12th, with them releasing the iPhone 17 on the 19th. That's typically what we see every year. Of course, based off of that, we also believe iOS 26 would launch a little bit before that, usually around the 15th. So that's what we can expect. But this coming week, we also expect iOS 26 Beta 8 or RC. So I would expect that Monday or Tuesday as well. or iOS 26 Public Beta 5 or RC as well. So if it is the RC, it will be for both developers and public beta testers. If it's Beta 8, we'll see Public Beta 5 as well. Apple this week also stopped signing iOS 18.6. It means you can no longer downgrade to it, and that's because we have a couple other versions to choose from. Apple also released a new AirPods firmware update. I showed this in the iOS 18.6.2 is out what's new video, but if we connect them to my phone here, you'll see they connected pretty fast. That was an issue for me before the update. And with the latest beta, you can see it here, 8A343A, and you can see the case version matches that as well. So that's what we had this week. I don't know if my AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation updated, so let's check that quickly. Give it just a second. Those are connected pretty quickly as well, and they are also on that update. So these ones updated on their own, and I don't see any new features necessarily, but they're definitely a little bit better with connectivity for me. We also got a Safari technology preview to go along with that, and you can see that here. So if we go to download it, you'll see it once it loads. If we scroll down, we have version 2.2.6 released on August 20th. It's available for macOS Tahoe and macOS Sequoia. So if you want to test out the latest technology, you can get that here. Now, the iOS 18.6.2 experience is generally very stable and smooth for most people. Many users, many people that commented as well, particularly those with the iPhone 14, 15, and 16 Pro Max models, mentioned great performance and improved battery life. There were very few people mentioning things such as overheating, faster battery drain, and laggy performance after updating. However, one of those people in particular reached out and said that it was still updating in the background, which will definitely affect that if it's indexing or doing something else finishing up the update. So that would slow it down. Be sure to check that in your settings under battery, see if it's actually still updating, and if it is, it's going to be a little bit slower and battery life will be affected. After that, it should improve though. The only physical bug I've seen so far is the wallpaper dimming bug. So you can see it here. So we swipe up and it just dims like that. So that's something they've fixed on iOS 26, but it still remains on iOS 18.6.2. We'll take a closer look at heat on this in a little bit, as well as battery life. When it comes to iOS 26 Beta 7 and Public Beta 4, they're identical in every way. Many say Beta 7 is smooth and stable. The top issue are some visual bugs that still exist. You'll see this isn't changing as easily sometimes. Sometimes liquid glass doesn't appear as easily, and then it comes back. So there's definitely some bugs that need to be fixed still. You'll see it's a little bit translucent, but then other times it's very much liquid glass when you do this. So when you slide back and forth with the menu. So definitely could use some improvement there, but I think they will with the next beta or the RC. The top issues still, other than visual bugs, are basically app-specific bugs, which really mean that the apps need to be updated, and Apple doesn't typically allow that until we get closer to a public release. So that's something we'll just have to wait on. There are some odd reports of connectivity issues with cellular dropping. Mine in particular has jumped to LTE quite a bit this week, and I don't know if it's something to do with the carrier or if it's just the phone, but either way, it hasn't been as good as it was before. CarPlay is having mic issues for some, and for others it's still not working properly. It won't connect and stay connected. Personally, I haven't had that issue, but I have had it connect to my car, then drop connection, reconnect, and then have no issue after that. I've seen that on multiple cars, and it seems to be an issue with the iPhone. But for the most part, it stays connected and works well, but is a little bit laggy. So it seems like finally things are getting right. They're getting a little bit faster and smoother, and we're very close to that final release. When it comes to overall performance, they're very good in general. Occasionally you'll get some lag on iOS 26 Beta 7, but for the most part, things are very fluid and fast. You'll see 18.6.2 on the left, iOS 26 Beta 7 on the right. Things such as ProMotion are very smooth overall, ramping up like you would expect. Animations are smooth, going into music, in and out. You'll see the animation is different on iOS 26. I don't know that it's too much faster, but you can see it there. But overall, generally very, very good, as long as your phone's not getting too hot. And I haven't experienced that myself. In fact, iOS 18.6.2 is quite cool here in my left hand, and 26 Beta 7 is a little bit warmer, but not by much. But let's go ahead and check out Geekbench. We'll run that, heat the phone up a little bit, and see what we've got. So I did run it a little bit earlier to see what we got, but let's go ahead and run it again. We'll check temperatures about halfway through. On iOS 26 Beta 7, we're right about at the hottest point, right about 40.9 degrees Celsius is the hottest I saw. On 18.6.2, we're seeing about 37.3 7 degrees Celsius. So a little bit cooler as expected, and that's typically what we see with these. So overall scores seem to be fairly inconsistent here on iOS 26. Maybe the app needs an update, but iOS 18.6.2 is pretty consistent and well within the margin of error. But you can see here, if we go into the history for iOS 26, that it varies greatly, even though the phone isn't really doing anything. So it goes up and down from 2,800 over 3,300. So I would expect maybe an app update, or maybe the iPhone's just busy doing something. If you're wondering if you should install iOS 18.6.2 or iOS 26 betas, well, if you want to stay on the public releases, I would recommend 18.6.2, as again, the vast majority say it's very stable, no real issues, and battery life is good, again, once everything's done processing in the background. Plus, there's an important security update there as well. With iOS 26 Beta 7, if you're on the iOS 26 betas, definitely install the update, provide feedback as needed in the feedback app, and be sure to check that out if you're having issues. But iOS 26 Beta 7 and Public Beta 4 seem to be a significant step up for most users. So overall, I would definitely recommend it if you want to update from iOS 26 earlier betas. And if you want to try it on your main phone, just be aware that you'll need a computer in order to downgrade. So as long as you have that and you have a backup before you update, go ahead and try it out. It seems to be pretty stable. When it comes to battery life, let's go ahead and take a look at that. First, 18.6.2. Thanks to Cameron for sending in his battery life, and you can see this is on an iPhone 16 Pro Max with 100% battery health. He had 10 hours and 54 minutes of screen active time, 3 hours and 30 minutes of screen idle time, and used about 75% of the battery here. So overall, very, very good. Easily getting through a day, and I'm hearing that from most people, that they're seeing some of the best battery life. When it comes to iOS 26 Beta 7 or Public Beta 4, it's pretty good. Not for me, but let's take a look at someone else's. Thanks to Abhishek for sending this in. This is iOS 26 Public Beta 4 on an iPhone 16e with 100% battery health. He had 5 hours and 54 minutes of screen on time, 42 minutes of screen off time, and used 65% of the battery. Very, very good overall, especially for that phone. When it comes to my battery life, it's not that great. If we go to battery health, you'll see my capacity is now at 94% with 304 cycles. Earlier this week, just a few days ago, I was at 95%. So using a beta is using a lot of power for me. And yesterday, I used 81% of my battery and had 3 hours and 41 minutes of screen active time, 5 hours and 15 minutes of screen idle time. The day before, again, it was charged quite a bit, so it's really only getting me a few hours day to day. And maybe that's because I have a lot running in the background with different keys for cars or things like that. I'm not really sure what's causing this yet, but it's definitely not great for me. Now, as far as your experience, let's take a look at some of your comments. Paul Evers 3538 said, I'm currently running iOS 18.6.2 on my iPhone 14. So the experience has been quite solid on my end. No complaints whatsoever. It's very smooth for me. Quad Rider Honda said, using iOS 18.6.2 on iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it's been great so far. Great performance and battery life. Haven't had any issues. It's been very stable and smooth. Fabby Synth said, iOS 26 Public Beta 4 seems great and very fast so far. Battery life is also very good, using 16 Pro Max. Everton Strack said, I've been running iOS 26 Public Beta 4 for a few days now, and it's running smoothly so far. Battery consumption is very similar to what I was experiencing with version 18.6.1 on the iPhone 15 Pro. I know we still have a few builds to go before the final release, but I'm still seeing legibility issues, especially with text and icons where liquid glass is used. Owen M. Lipka 23 says, running iOS 26 Developer Beta 7 on my iPhone 15 Pro, and it has been pretty solid. Through all the iOS 26 betas, I've had far less issues than in the years past. Most notably, my phone doesn't get hot and battery life is better than usual with beta updates. In my experience so far, it seems that Apple is finally getting things right with iOS. Vasil Vadafu says, iOS 26 Beta 7 feels amazing from every perspective. Liquid glass is now almost everywhere, and battery life has noticeably improved. There are still a few tweaks needed here and there, but overall I'm really enjoying it. If we take a look at overall storage, we'll go into General and then iPhone storage. Scroll to the bottom, and iOS 18.6.2 is taking up 18.66 gigabytes, and iOS 26 Beta 7 is taking up 19.81 gigabytes. So overall, not too much more, and you'll see Apple Intelligence is 6.27 gigabytes compared to 6.28 in the public version. So iOS is 13.54 gigabytes compared to 18.6.2 at 12.39 gigabytes. So definitely a little bit more usage, but not that much considering everything new. Based on the vast majority of comments on both the YouTube community poll and online, iOS 18.6.2 is highly reliable and polished with good performance and good battery life overall. So in general, very good there, and it seems like it's that way for most users. iOS 26 Beta 7 and Public Beta 4 are also generally very stable, especially for a beta with much faster animations, but still some odd visual issues, and it continues to get greatly improved with every version. So overall, pretty good. So let me know what you think of it though in the comments below, if you think they'll finish it on time, when Siri will come, if you think it will even be better, or should they use Gemini or something else. So that's everything so far with iOS 26 Beta 7, iOS 26 Public Beta 4, and iOS 18.6.2. That was a bit of a surprise update, but I'm looking forward to see what Apple may add next as they continue to refine iOS 26. Let me know what you're looking most forward to in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.